and welcome to Risen Esports Champions League's play-in. My name is XT, and I'm joined here with Return, and we're going to be giving you a coverage of the first half of the play-ins today. We're going to be starting off with Truman State University Esports taking on Karaoke Machine Broke in the first round. And Return, I have to ask, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing absolutely amazing, and this is going to be a historic day for Risen Esports. We got the play-ins coming in, so many teams, 22 teams actually battling it out for 8 more spots in our Champions League. So everything's on the line. You got to show it right now.
I'm so excited to see a lot of action happening on today. There's a lot on the line. Only 2 teams per block will make it out of this round robin today. If you guys didn't catch the group drawings, you can find the block. You can find all the teams and all the rosters in the landing page for Risen Esports Discord. But once again, we are going to be giving you this first game, and we are going to be in patch 8.9. Nothing too crazy. I know there are a little bit of changes towards the mid lane for the mana, but overall, what are you expecting to see today, Return?
The big parts of this patch have to be those neutral objectives. You have the Baron changes, which has more HP, less damage, and it's going to be easier for teams to take, but it takes a lot longer. So, I mean, Baron throws so much more. I'll make sure that objective and the Herald too got some interesting nerfs and buffs. Mostly that it does more damage if you can get it on a tower and it doesn't lose that much HP, but if you get hit in the eye, that thing just evaporates.
Yeah, definitely. With Rift Herald doing a lot more damage, being a more easier objective with a lot more impact in the game, we're going to have to see if teams are going to adapt and put Rift Herald in their priority list, as I know that Rift Herald used to be more or less a constellation prize, but hopefully this does make Rift Herald a more appealing attraction.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to use in the fact that you just find some advantage, especially in the mid lane or one of the side lanes. You find that man advantage, you pop it down, and it's basically unstoppable. But you also have that drawback of you can't just throw it in one lane hoping that it's going to do something. If one person gets on that Herald is going to be gone pretty darn quickly. But taking a quick look at all of our action today, in the first block of casting, we do have 2 matches coming to you guys. As we said before, we got TSUES Truman State going up against Karaoke Machine Broke in Group B, battling out for the top spots in that group. Whereas a little bit later on, we will also be bringing to you Virginia Tech versus NCSU, North Carolina State University.
I'm so excited to see the second game of today's block, Virginia Tech versus NCSU. That is going to be a hyped up matchup, but this time we're going to be giving you guys right now's match. The picks bans have just started, 15 seconds on the clock. The first ban going to be Morgana.
And this is one you see a lot of the time. There were some slight nerfs to Caitlyn on the last patch, 8.9, but you still have a very dominant laning phase. And when you pair that with someone like the Morgana, have the WMAX Tormented Soil, you can push that lane for basically ever.
Yeah, and Morgana has just a lot of safe matches, but we look at this, KMB going to be banning out the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I mean, Kai'Sa is just the top priority ADC. Sure, she has that weaker laning phase with, especially with those nerfs, especially to her Q, where she's only able to get 10 shots off on the arcane missiles other than 12. However, it still pops off insanely hard if you can get any sort of advantage going on her. So, Truman State, they're not going to be able to get their hands on this, and Karaoke Machine Broken, they don't want to see this anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Camille and Kled could be the next 2 bans here. Camille, haven't really seen her a lot, but most of the time it's because she's been banned. Camille's still a very, very potent lane bully and has a lot of ways to engage with hookshot and Karaoke, and KMB not going to be able to get that. I believe that's going to be a misban from Truman State. We're going to see if we can get any updates on that. But Karaoke Machine Broke, they decided to ban Kled.
They are not afraid of anything else. They're like, bring out whatever you got, but that does leave up some pretty big bans coming across from Karaoke Machine Broke. But looking back at the last 2 bans, like the Camille, like the Kled, sure, Camille doesn't have the best laning phase in the world. She can go pretty well against some tanks just with the Arcane Comet Star, but it's all about that late game scaling. You either take out a ADC or a support just by looking at them, or you take out towers with ease once you get the Sheen item. Going along with those Camille legs and a ban of Leon as well. That is one we were not expecting to see, but talking about 8.9.
Kennen lock-in here. Kennen receiving a little bit of a interesting buff to his W and his E, giving him attack speed and a little bit of damage being adjusted on his W. And to update you guys at home, that missed ban from Truman State is actually going to be Skarner. Trono going to be hovered over here for Karaoke Machine Book, but Kennen, man, we may see him in the top lane. We could even see him ADC.
The Skarner ban coming up first, it's a little bit Interesting for me, notably because right now the main three junglers are the Trundle, the Trundle, Skarner, and Olaf kind of trifecta. And Olaf is the counter to Skarner. So what this ban shows me is that Truman State are not comfortable playing that Olaf. They don't want to have to use that as that direct counter pick, and they're going to go with something probably a little bit beefier, maybe a little bit more engage heavy. They're setting themselves up for a great engage style composition.
Yeah, and now look at this. Karaoke Machine broke not only locking to Trundle, but they're looking over for the Jhin, and it is going to be locked in. And considering that, Caitlyn still an available pick, and with Kai'Sa being banned, Jhin being the next choice, pretty interesting to see for me. But I would honestly would have preferred to see the Caitlyn here.
The Caitlyn already kind of receiving a little bit of bite back because there's no Morgana to help out in the lane. You're not guaranteed the shoving lane anymore. And Jhin really is kind of the counter to Caitlyn when you want to stay aggressive in that early game. And Truman State are doing. It's like they're just reading the patch notes right now, just picking. All right, that guy got buffed. Let's go grab him.
Ivern also receiving a couple of buffs in patch 8.9. One of the more notable ones, there has been a range increase on his Q, the whiff increase on his Q, so it's easier to land. But not only that, his passive, the health cost has gone down a little bit, so it's a little bit less painful for Ivern whenever he wants to go ahead and get a camp for himself. But look, this Shen is also going to get locked in, and it's a very shield heavy composition already. The Ivern and Shen, you have that engage with the Kennen too, so there's a lot of synergy with the Shen Kennen, but very interesting comp coming out from Truman State right now.
This is a lot being shown so far from Truman State, and yeah, just like you said, it is going to be incredibly engage heavy. But what I do like here with these two last picks with the Kennen and the Shen is those are technically flexible. Kennen, I've seen in the ADC position, I've seen him on support, and I've seen him in the top lane. And Shen, same deal. He could play support, he could play top lane. So not showing too much just yet, but even so, with only an ADC and a mid laner left to go, you gotta think their heads are just going all in.
Yeah, definitely. Alistar going to be the last pick here for the first round of pick bans for Karaoke Machine Brook. And now we're going to go ahead and ban out the Tristana. And you got to wonder if this Kennen is actually going to be an ADC pick. We're going to have to wait and see. Twist Fate getting banned away from Doxa, a very popular pick. He loves to play. Played it all the time last season in Risen Esports. No surprise here. Pretty interesting to see what Karaoke Machine banned out here.
Yeah, there's still some ADCs on the board. Ezreal probably being the most noticeable of bans, but it looks like they're actually going to go for the Xayah. So trying to basically ban away anything that can stay aggressive in the early game against the Jhin Alistar bot lane. And with these picks, especially if that is a Shen going down to the bot lane to support, you're not going to have too many things that can go toe-to-toe. Probably the last thing here being that Caitlyn, but even so, Jhin Alistar versus Caitlyn Shen, I still give that advantage over to Jhin Alistar.
Yeah, definitely. Jhin Alistar, a very aggressive lane, and Jhin, although he did lose a little bit of damage, or a lot of damage, I would say, with the bug fix to Rageblade, going to be pretty interesting to see if he's still going to be prevalent towards the late game. But look at this, Karaoke Machine hovering over to Cassiopeia, blind pick for Doxa here. Going to be pretty interesting to see if they do walk it in. It is going to be a blind for Cassiopeia, and Cassiopeia hasn't really been touched as of late. Pretty interesting to see her once again play.
She's been coming back quite a bit in the mid lane, especially with the new mana changes. You can still be aggressive early while still having good scaling into late game. It is the godsend counter to anything like either the Swain, even though it got banned out, or the Rise. But definitely something you have to keep in mind is she is very immobile, and you're already picking her into this such hard engaged style competition. And now Xerath basically has got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, definitely. Xerath, one of the more, I believe, a comfortable matchup for himself, the Xerath to Cassiopeia. But pretty interesting to see Xerath going to be coming out here. That's going to be the poke and the wave clear for Truman State coming out. If that was something that we're lacking in their composition, Xerath can definitely solve a little bit of that. Their last pick for the last couple of seconds is probably going to be for support. Braum going to get locked in. That is Kennen ADC.
All right. So Kennen, with the recent buffs, it was a lot more damage onto his passive, a lot more damage onto his E, specifically regarding that ADC role. So yeah, he's still going to be doing something in the laning phase, and it's going to be actually really hard to engage on a Braum plus a Kennen bot lane if the Jhin Alistar were really looking to get that pulled off here. But overall, as long as you can avoid this early engage from Truman State, they don't scale that well. They don't really make it to that late game team fight unless they can just start a team fight by ending it.
Yeah, and look at this Karaoke Machine, bro. They're going to go for the Singed in the top lane to take on the Shen. And now Singed, very, very common counter pick towards the tanks. We don't really get to see him a lot, though, in competitive play. One of the more notable picks times we've seen to Singed would probably have to be back into NALCS with Team Liquid Impact taking this pick into tanks like the Shen. So pretty interesting to see how Shen's going to do in this composition for Karaoke Machine, Broke. And I have to give it the Karaoke Machine, bro. They actually have a very strong composition on their hands right now.
Exactly. And as some people are going to be very critical, including myself, of the Truman State lineup right here, it is very much in their control how this early game goes. Because not only do they have the mid lane pressure you get with a Xerath, basically going to have complete control of that wave as long as he doesn't get ganked too early on, but with the combination of an Ivern, a Shen, a Kennen on your map, at level 6, you get to dictate the flow of the game. But the problem with that is, if you don't get anything off of those first few plays, Karaoke Machine just counter that all the time. If you let Cassiopeia scale up, if you let Singed just be the nuisance in the top lane, there's going to be a time where no matter how much you hit these guys with, they're just not going to die.
Yeah, it is all going to be up to both teams here to utilize their tools and figure out the play styles. There's, I believe, a clear win condition coming out for both these compositions here. And if there's one thing that I could tell from both these team comps, both of these teams are gonna want a team fight. They both have a way of engaging. And you look at Karaoke Machine, bro, they have the Alistar and Singed just to run at you with Trundle having that disruption with the Pillar of Ice. But you look at Truman State, they do have a disruption with the ultimate from Kennen. They do have ways to kind of kite back with the Braum, the Glacial Fissure to kind of just slow them down, and the Shen to protect whoever's in danger. So both these teams, a lot of tools.
They have a lot of tools, but it's not quite optimal for Truman State to ever be on the back foot here. Sure, their saving grace is probably going to be Xerath here in the mid lane. If they ever get behind, they can just sit back, let that man wave clear through, and then when Cassiopeia has to answer that wave somewhere, you can go roam around, try to make that odd-numbered play. But if you're ever in a situation where Karaoke Machine are finding the engage onto you early, you've basically already lost.
Yeah,
unless, of course, you're like 10k ahead, in which case the game stops really mattering at that point, but even so.
Yeah, you also have to keep in mind that Truman State, they don't exactly have the strongest laners, Jhin should be able to look to bully Kennen quite early, along with Alistar being able to kind of abuse that level 2, since I believe that Truman State, their bot lane, Kennen, Braum should have a little bit of trouble getting to that level 2 first. And you also have to keep in mind the Singed against the Shen. Singed is going to be such a huge lane bully for Shen. It's going to be pretty... I expect Truman State to be in a little bit behind coming into the lane phase here for this.
And this is just a good mindset coming in, and it's a good response coming out of Karaoke Machine. The idea is whenever the enemy has a full map ultimate or just some global mobility, you either A, kill that man repeatedly, punish him for taking that pick, or B, punish him for leaving. So Singed is still going to have a great matchup into the Shen, but Singed is very easy to get lanes pushing on, very easy to start taking towers on because of that proxy farming. So if at any point there's a roam away from Dekif, you know that Singed is just going to probably take a tower somewhere. So that just puts that much more risk in each and every play. And now if Truman State missed just one play, they already go down something.
Yeah, not a lot of safety here for Truman State. They have, they have a very risky composition, and if they ever do fall behind to this Karaoke Machine composition, it's going to be so hard for them to kind of come back into the game.
Exactly. But what you do have to keep your eyes on, especially in this early game, is T-Brozen. We have not seen an Ivern in so long, but like we said before, Truman State, they don't have the strongest of lanes, but they have pretty good gank assist. Kennen plus Braum can keep someone locked down for probably about 5.5 hours, roughly. And then Shannon's top lane still with the... maybe you won't be seeing Ivern really looking to gank a Singed, but it still can be done. If T-Brozen's able to break out this early game, find those early kills, and start out-jungling the Trundle, what he's directly against, that could be where Truman State really look to play this game, but it's basically going to be on his shoulders.
Yeah, definitely. And now as we do get into the spectator delay for 3 minutes, as both these teams do load up into the Rift, we do have to ask the more important question. Who do you think is probably going to be favoring in this game here? Truman State University or Karaoke Machine?
My vote has to go with Karaoke Machine. I've seen the Truman State guys over in the Upsurge Leagues. they haven't really proven themselves to me. And on top of that, they're picking a composition where they need to not only execute, they need to over execute. They need to like make front page or Reddit execute at this point. And especially in a best of one, I think it's great to go with something the other opponent's not expecting. I just don't have the faith in them just yet. But hey, best of ones, it's the play-in stage. Now is the time to show everyone what you're actually made of.
Yeah, definitely. My vote is also going to go towards Karaoke Machine Broke, but I'm very interested to see if Truman State University can blow this composition off. Once again, like we said, not a lot of safety in this composition. It's a very hard composition to execute, and like you said, over execution is going to be the key play here for Truman State. A first pick cannon, something we don't really see often, and we're going to have to see if this is going to bite back on them or if Truman State truly know how to utilize this pick to its 100%.
I mean, it's definitely not anything I would have expected. I think that there are just so many other good ADC picks at the moment. There's been a bit of a resurgence in the Jinx at the 2-item mark. Grab the Rage Blade, grab the Press the Attack, and some people have going to it. And of course, the favorite of everyone around right now, the 2-tier Ezreal, gets a little bit better scaling. It's a safe pick, and honestly, I would have preferred to see the Kennen in the top lane throw something like the Ezreal on the ADC role. So you have not only that dive comp, but you also have an ADC who can stay safe in the process. But this is my game. This is Truman State's game, and we will have to see if they're actually going to be able to pull this one off. And the ceiling is absolutely sky high right now.
Yeah, definitely. 1 minute and 20 seconds left in our spectator delay here. And Truman State, if they want to continue and have a chance to play in the Champions League for Resident Esports, this is going to have to be the game that they win here. If they want to prove themselves and make an impact to start off the Resident Esports climb, this game is definitely going to show if they have what it takes, or can Karaoke Machine Broke reclaim their spot in Champions League. They competed last year. They did get into playoffs, but didn't make it far into the semis. But now we see a huge Karaoke Machine Broke team here. Karaoke Machine now 056 in the top lane with Jim Cantor and Doxa, who used to be in Hello, along with Boo Busters making a return. And 2013 Weaves, not someone I've seen before, but definitely a new face for this team. Very excited to see how both these teams.
Yeah, exactly. And a big thing with this match, remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is only week number 1, match number 1 of the play-in stage. And there are 2 other really good teams in this Group B. So Group B consists of Orion, Michigan State Academy, Truman State, and Karaoke Machine Broke. Only 2 of those teams can get out. So, I mean, losing the match here basically means that you have to win out to even have a chance of making the regular season.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough group for these 2 teams here, but now we're going to be heading into the loading screen here. I am absolutely excited to share this moment with you, Returned, and we are going to be starting off our Champions League's play-ins with game number 1, Truman State University taking on Karaoke Machine Broke.
Yeah, now it's time where series have to be won or lost. You got to make a statement here, otherwise you're just going to be left to the wind.
Yeah, and now as we do see on the loading screen, on the blue side, it is going to be Truman State University Esports on the top lane. I'm waiting for the loading screen to load up because it's taking a while.
It's like we can get names. That'll be absolutely delightful. But here we go.
On the top lane, Shen, the Keith King on the Shen, T. Brosen on the Iron. Very excited to see that. Romantic Churro on the Zeraf, Mucky on the Cannon, and D18 Highsmith on the Braum.
And on the red side, it is none other than Karaoke Machine. You got 056 in that top lane. Jim Cantor rocking through that jungle. Docs in the mid lane. 2013 Weaves on ADC, and on support, it's Boo Busters.
Definitely excited to see how both these teams compete into Summoner's Rift. Both teams are going to be loading up right now, and nothing too crazy coming out in the... Oh, actually, sorry, excuse me. Electrocute Braum for Highsmith in the bot side for Truman State University, and I don't think that's something you see common at all.
That is definitely not something we see at all. It's always going for the Guardian. It's always getting your ADC the extra amount of shielding. Or even if you want to go super crazy, you could go for something like the Aftershock, get that engage damage, but the electrocute basically just means in this lane, you have to go all in. Sure, you're going to get that extra damage onto D18 if you do bring down an engage, but in all that, I'm not super sure that it's really going to be worth it. Is the majority of the time should not be spent engaging on the bot lane for Truman State, but looks like we got a little bit of engage coming out from both teams here at the very beginning of the match.
And invades starting off from both teams here. Truman State with their 5-man squad. And if you see on the top side, Karaoke Machine Broke with the 4-man stack. Jin is on the bot lane, 2013 Weaves. just chilling and billing just in case. But both these teams here are going to be able to get some vision onto the jungle and see who's going to start where. But if you see on the bottom of the minimap, there is a red ward placed by 2013 Weaves to point out that there was an invade from Truman State University. However, they don't know if Karaoke Machine broke.
And this early game is so important for T-Brosen because the whole point take Ivern is your early clear is insane. It literally takes 0.00 seconds to take your first camp if you smite it away. So it's so easy to get those 3 buff invades, but with this not defending their top side, they're basically just going to be called out immediately from, oh, wait a second.
They are going to know that on the blue side, there's going to be an invade coming out for Karaoke Machine broke. But I don't think that DF King wants to do anything about it. That's going to be a blue steal coming out from both sides of the map. T-Brosen also getting that off. That's going to feel good for both junglers here. And now everyone is going to slowly but surely head into the lane.
Yeah, wasn't super sure about what exactly was happening there up on the top side of the map. I thought that Karaoke Machine broke might have actually turned onto the King, but they do not in the end. In the middle, Romantic Trio gets the first push, but gets actually none of the CS in the wave. Not a single minion.
Oof, that's going to be a little bit rough. And now you already see on the top side, 056. He does have a level advantage. He was able to make it to the lane before the Keith King. If you saw earlier, the Shen actually had to take a longer route to get there. But look at this. Both junglers going to be facing off, but T-Brosen going to be using the try to get out already. The Pillar of Ice going to be slowing him down, but Romantic Trio here to save his teammate. But that's where actually getting out. Oh, look at this. The engage coming out. The headbutt pulverized. Vicky already going to be ignited, but look at this. The electric coming out. Actually, it's going to go down. 2 Busters being taken down. First blood going over to D18 Highsmith.
Yeah, a little bit over aggressive. The mid lane too. I think Trio getting pretty low.
Yeah. So, lots of fighting already in the first 3 minutes of the game. Truman State, though, putting up the first kill on their end. And Electrocute Braum paying off already.
Yeah, and going along with all this, 14-17 in the ball lane, 14-7 in the ball lane. The big thing with the Kennen ADC is, yeah, you don't do that much damage, but you also have that stun, which most ADCs just aren't bringing along. If you find the engage, but Doxa in the mid lane,
the flash from
T-Brosen
though looking flash. Tricacy doesn't get anything yet, but he does have the red buff. Doxa is slow to flash out. But Jim Cantor is here to save his teammate. T-Brosen now going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Is going to get slowed down, and another kill going off to Jim Cantor. T-Brosen a little bit aggressive on the Ivern, and Doxa now going to be having no summoners in the mid lane along with Churro.
Ooh, a little bit more fighting the ball lane, but doesn't look like it's going to turn into too much. We flash forward!
2013 Weaves a little bit aggressive there, but once again, Electrocute doing a little bit of damage is going to get stunned up under tower, but 2013 Weaves. Oh, the Q coming out from the cannon, maybe kicking him down, but the root is going to be coming out. D18 Highsmith.
What is that?
Blue James gets the kill. Whew.
Oh, another kill coming out, and that's what should be happening. The Jhin plus Alistar combination, especially once you hit level 2, should have that bottom lane on lock. But what I want to point out more right now is this jungle matchup. We've said that this early game is on the shoulders of T-Brosen, and I am not impressed so far. You saw the very early game where Jim Cantor and T-Brosen ran into each other in that topside jungle. The great thing about Ivern is your clears are so crazy efficient. The downside with it is, it's only crazy efficient if the enemy jungler is not there.
Oh, well, here comes T-Brosen, and he is going to be able to pick kill along Atlantic Hero onto Doxa from mid lane. Gotta remember, Doxa, no summoners, so good punish coming out from T-Brosen, kind of making up for that unfortunate kill death that he brought himself early in the mid lane.
It was quite unfortunate, but just good pathing there from T-Brosen, and a little bit of disrespect coming up from Doxa, but honestly, that might just be a byproduct of the insane early game we've been having. I mean, there's been fights absolutely everywhere. Junglers, I'm not sure, have had any real time to farm. They've just been running to wherever the fight is. Topside, though, to Keith.
056. Oh, he's going to get taunted under tower. He gets the solo kill on to 056.
It's not very often you see the Singe go down that early in the game without the assist, because Singe does need a little bit of time to scale on up, usually wants to get at least one AP item under his belt before he becomes really the annoying man of the match, but you can't take tower shots like that. You gotta stay safe to some extent. You're not unhealable.
Yeah, very Aggressive pick play coming out from 056. We still see in the bot lane, though, a big wave being built up. Mucky just trying to see if he can freeze the wave right now. And 2013 not having that much of a good time down the bot side.
Oh, definitely not. He's nearly 20 CS down on what should be the winning matchup. And a lot of that I'd have to chalk up to just the outright aggression they had in the early game. And we actually undervalued the Kennen pick just a little bit in the pick ban.
Yeah, and now look at this. Headbutt Pulverize going to be hitting by Boot Busters, but he's taking a lot of damage in return. 2013 Weave still has counter aggression here. Fourth shot going to be hitting Jim Cantor onto the side. The Pillar of Ice going to be able to slow down Mucky and the others, and 2-man Headbutt Pulverize. But look at this. That's going to be, no, the Stand United is not going to be enough. A double kill coming out towards the bot side here. Karaoke Machine broke right back.
And the one thing you have to keep in mind with the Alistar plus Jhin bottom lane, they can engage whenever they want. And if you're going to make a bot play, as if you are as TCUES Truman State, you gotta know where that jungler is, because Jim Cantor will ruin your day.
Doxa is right now 2v1ing against Romantic Hero and the pros, and great petrifying gaze, but Romantic Hero able to get in the way with a little bit of HP. But on the other side, Doxa just doesn't die, and now the bot lane push is going to continue.
Just fights everywhere, but no towers going down just yet. It looks like Karaoke Machine might be trying to knock that one down, but 056, he's found T-Brosen.
Yeah, he's trying to be as annoying. See that Keith Keen, he is going to blast going over. Look for the fling, is going to be able to connect, and now he's going to be slowed down just a little bit. 056 currently running for his life. Is going to get rooted up by the tree. No. Oh, he flashes over to Shadow Dash, and now look at this. Doxa coming in for the bot side. T-Bro's going to be the first to go down. The Keith King going to get flinged away once again, and now he is going to go down. Double kill onto 056. Great play for Karaoke Machine to punish T-Brosen, and Keith King feels bad.
They're going to be looking for even more damage on the Weaves, but that's actually a little bit of an interesting synergy in the top lane, because 056 poisons people with his Q, and that poison does work for Doxa, so technically you can get a lot more damage out on that. Not really what you'd expect, but kind of looking back at this game as a whole right now, you do see the advantage coming out right now. Honestly, you could probably get the same effect from just like flipping a coin 10 times and seeing where it comes. That's how it feels like all these fights have been. It's just whoever can move to the place the first time, and that all really goes back to this idea of they're trying to make the plays. They're not doing the setup, though. No one's getting the aggressive vision down. No one's tracking where the enemy jungler is, and whenever they make a play, it's just really a flip the coin.
Yeah, definitely. Now look at this. 3-man in the bot side for both teams here. Jim Cantor and T-Brosen trying to see if they can make a play here, but no, actually they're both going to back off. For what I've seen, a lot of these early games, these types of starts generally don't happen.
Yeah, no, this is a very unprepared start. Like we said before, Truman State's squad is built around making these plays, and step one of making any play is the vision game. It's the setup, but in the mid lane,
Doxa looking for the solo kill, flashes away, Romantic Hero, and now the 18 Highsmith trying to see if he can defend his mid laner. More people coming out from Truman State, and now Boot Buster's going to be forced to use Unbreakable Will, trying to get away, flashes out, but look at this, the Arcane Assault coming out for the Xerath. Doxa forced to flash away there with the ultimate coming out from Mucky. Doxa gets away alive, almost gets a solo kill, but look at this, 056 coming from behind, the Petrified Gaze, 2-man knockup! And now Doxa able to get the kill onto T18 Highsmith, and the Keith King a little bit late to the party. Mucky trying to see if he can get away, but he's taking a lot of damage from the poison. Doxa looking to see if he can get any kills for himself. Churro, no flash, is going to be going for this tower dive here. Romantic Churro not going to be dying to the poison. He is taking out
yes!
The corrupting potion, and the poison going to be able to take it down. Mucky still running for his life here. Is going to be looking to execute to the tower, but 056 in the back side, looking to see if he can get the kill himself. That's going to be the kill, going over to 056, and a lot of action coming out. 3 kills, I believe. No, sorry. Yeah, 3 kills.
All right. To take a quick breather in some of what just happened the last few minutes, we're at 13 kills in 10 minutes, and I can't tell you what happened. But what has been happening is basically you have the Karaoke Machine Broken team beating Truman State at their own game. Sure, Truman State want to break away from these generic lanes just because they shouldn't be having the winning lanes in anywhere but mid lane, but they just can't get a fight together. And now Jim Cantor on the bot side.
Oh no, Brahms so level 5. He does not have the ult just yet to stay united. Not going to be enough to save his life. Jim Cantor is on a killing spree. 3-0-1. Karaoke Machine Broke also get a tower in the bot side. That's going to be a second tower in game for them.
And this is incredibly good scaling. And not only that, but the CS differentials are very strongly favoring the side of the Karaoke Machine Broken. In the mid lane, 57-65. You should never be down in lane as a Xerath unless you're getting camped 24/7. You should never be down in CS as someone like the Cassiopeia, but time and time again, Dox he's found the advantages. He's found the ganks with Jim Cantor, and he's just carved out an advantage for himself. And despite what was a very shaky early game from 056, he has nearly doubled. I remember there was a time where it was like 60 to 20 CS in the top lane in favor from 056. He's just ahead because he's ahead. There's not really any... The chaos that Truman State is putting together, it's just not really coming into anything. They're not getting any advantages off of it.
Oh, well, look at this. 056 going to be in a little bit of trouble. Stunned, rooted up, slowed down, and he is going to be looking to get out alive.
Not dead yet.
Potion, but Doxa is going to be here to try to save it. The heal coming out. The 2-man petrifying gaze, and now look at this double kill coming out. 056 set up Doxa for the petrifying gaze, and now he's going to come out with a double kill here. Romantic Show trying to see if he can do anything, but look at this. Mickey going to be looking for the ultimate here. 056, his time is going to be pretty short, but Doxa trying to see if he can do any more damage. That is a 2-for-1 to top side. Blue Busters here is going to be trying to see if he can do anything, though. As a little bit of a speed buff from the... Oh, look this, the headbutt pulverized Monkey trying to see if he can get away, but is ignited. But Jim Cantor on a rampage, now going to be able to flash forward. Doxa with the soul kill up to the top side. A lot of action happening. Kai Smith trying to see if he can get away, but overall, that's going to be 4 people going down.
And Doxa is absolutely massive. Not only did he assist kills, but the scaling coming out of him is going to be insane. Jim Cantor, nothing to scoff at either. He's not only 30 CS up in the jungle, not only the 1 level lead, probably it should be more around the 2, probably very close to hitting level 9 himself, but every single member of Truman State is at some sort of disadvantage now. They just need to find some sort of engage to claw this one back, and we're at the point, nearly 10k down in the hole, where one more misplay coming up from Truman State, and that's it. That's game.
We talked about how Truman State needed to overperform in order to succeed, and now you look at the deficit, like you said, around 10k code down, and now they're facing a Karaoke Machine Broke team that's just snowballing out of control. 056, you saw how much pressure he drew, and he was still almost to make it out alive. They, like, Truman State barely got anything from that top side of Squirrel.
And now you really got to question the decision-making coming out from Truman State. Why are we putting 3 members onto the cinch? Because whenever you're thinking out a play in your head, it comes in 3 steps. It's A, what do we need to do to set up this play? B, how do we actually execute this play? And C, what do we get out of this play? And right now, Truman are not considering parts 1 or 3. They're just finding the plays and just hoping that it goes right. And sure, sometimes that coin will flip up in your favor, but right now, they elected to have the engage style competition. It's just not working out for them. And phenomenal play currently coming out from a Karaoke Machine Broken, but here's the engage.
Yeah, that's going to be a flash away from 2013 and Weaves, but now look at this. Buster's just applying so much pressure to Sang United, getting proc once again. Monkey is going to be looking to see if he can get away from the 2013 Weaves. Walks away from the Glacier Fisher. It's currently a 5v2. 5 people up on the top side for Truman State, but they can't get anything from it, and they have to walk away. 056 going to be applying pressure to the bot side.
And just like that, they don't find out what flash they're down. They are unable to convert on the play, and now they will huge amount of pressure on the map, looking like Truman State, they're just hanging around until Karaoke Machine Broken can just put him in the dirt.
Yeah, now look
now
at this.
4 members.
If they can get 056, but he's just gonna walk away. Doesn't even need to use any potion to get away. He's like, see ya, man. I'm out of here. Oh, never mind, he's saying.
Yeah, and now for the classic question of how many champions does it take to run down a Singe? So far, 3 hasn't worked. Maybe we bring 4, maybe we bring 5, and hope we can get something out of it. But look at that top side. It's just not going to last too long. It's going down. And plus, remember, Jim Cantor, he still has the Herald. The new and improved Herald.
Yeah, definitely. Like, look at the top side push for Karaoke Machine Broke right now. And 056.
No one's moving there.
Draws 4 people to him. That's all he has to do. He draws people towards him, but now Rift Herald is going to be spun to top side. Romantic Trio going to be faced first against Doxa. Does have to realize to slow him down quite a little bit. But I don't think he's going to be able to get the kill, but the top side push is still continuing for Kira.
That's going to be inhibitor. That has to be inhibitor tower at least. No one even came back. Doxa, great way to stop the back coming out of Romantic Hero, but still only one person's in base and they're on the inhibitor.
Yeah, definitely. And now this turret is going to be going down along with the inhibitor here. Truman State trying to see if they can defend here, but now a little bit of a fight going to be starting here. Two-man knockout coming out from Davies, but Highsmith going to be taking a little bit of damage out first. 056 going to be teleporting in, trying to do anything here, but now he is. Here he comes. He's looking for the fling onto a priority target. Only flings keep away. And the rest of KMB is going to be on the retreat. That's going to be Trigger Seed. Going to be proccing onto King here. Goes for the flash taunt. Only able to hit 2013 Weez. And now the ult coming up from Cannon, but only hitting front line here. 2013 Weez going to be able to get the kill onto Kings here. Like 056 going to be a little bit of a nuisance here. He's going to be slowing down 4 members of the team for Truman State, but now Karaoke Machine Broke going to be continuing on the retreat. They're okay with only getting 1 kill, and also 3 turrets up into top side.
They got the inhibitor as well. That was such a delayed response from Truman State. If you're going to give away that much, you need to make such an impressive play on the other side. And even with that engage, when they finally had all 10 members on the same side map,
Doxa looking for the play here, only is able to get the Braum thanks to an Unbreakable Will, but now Doxa is going to be on a rampage, getting a kill on Tyson. Mucky going to get flinked in and taken down by Jin Cancer. Chomp going to be able to do so much for him, but 056 going to be running it down. Taking turret aggro is going to die to Romantic Hero. A little bit of over-aggression coming out from the Singe play, but overall, Karaoke Machine Broke, they have complete control on what's going on.
They're going to keep pressing their luck here in the mid lane. Only Doxa and Jim Canto is sticking around, but looks like right now, Truman State, after that huge series of events that just transpired, have absolutely no appetite to go out and try to pick a fight again. And now, this is 17 minutes in. That inhibitor fell at 16 minutes. You could not be happier with the way that Karaoke Machine Broken are playing this game right now.
This new Karaoke Machine Broke team looks like they're ready to dominate. And this first game, if anything, tells us the story of how just dominant they've played this game so far. The early game, a little bit shaky, but if they're given a lead, they can go so far with it now. They're going to be able to get the Ocean Jade for themselves. 1745. Baron's going to be up soon, and
Weaves.
I don't think they should be able to give that away, but now Mucky going to be in a little bit of trouble along 2013 Weaves. Blue Buzz just going to be able to get the 2-man knock. Current call coming out, and Jim Cantor going to be out of mana, but look to see if he can get in the middle fight. But Doxa is able to catch up here, but I wonder if he can land the Miasma to see if he can do anything good. Root onto Highsmith here. He's going to be slowing down. Trick Sheet going to be onto him. And Seraph is going to be able to join the party here. Flash away from Blue Busters. And now Jim Caps going to be taking a little bit of damage. That Miaza going to be able to slow everyone down. Mucky going to be looking to see if he can survive as long as he can. Look at the top. He's going to be able to get stunned up. And now 056 is going to be on the retreat here. And Truman, although no one goes down, they're still going to be on the retreat overall. Karaoke Machine Broke. They're just 2 ahead. You don't want to mess with them at all, with their 2 carries still relatively healthy.
And they've got nothing left. They burned everything trying to force that play. No Braum ulti, no Kennen ulti. All they've got left is Zerath ulti, and that's even going to be burned away. So, right here, there's no reason that basically Karaoke Machine Broken can do whatever the hell they want. And right now, it looks like that's going to be the back.
Yep, definitely. Karaoke Machine, they haven't really taken the time to back just yet. That's going to be a disconnect, I believe, and possibly
honestly,
pause.
I don't know if that matters anymore. You're 13k in the advantage. Sure, it's always nice to have that front line of the Singe, but thankfully we are going to see him reconnect, so he does actually manage the team. It matters in our hearts, but
yep.
On the scoreline, maybe not so much, but kind of to sum up basically what's happened all this game, it's when you have a team that tries to break apart the laning phase, keep the game in kind of a state of chaos the entire time. I personally refer to it as the Gigabyte Marine syndrome or Gigabyte Marine style, where you don't think you can play up to the opponent's level in a normal game. How they scrim, how they practice, they're used to going through the laning phase, used to making these very calm, collective plays. Sometimes you just try to throw that all out the window, catch the enemy team off guard, and if you can get one kind of snowbally play going, maybe they don't know how to react to the rest of it. But unfortunately, it only works when you make that first play, and it feels like the response out of the Karaoke Machine Broken was just too much. They weren't able to make a play. They weren't able to make anything successful. Now, Karaoke Machine, they just own the map.
Yep, Baron's going to be spawning here. Absolutely no vision coming out from Truman State. And a question mark ping onto the Kennon's position and coming out from Karaoke Machine. They know that the 5-man squad is not here for Truman State, and they should be able to get this Baron relatively quickly. Although Baron's a little bit more strong in the early game, I don't think it matters at all. It's going to be going down in 2018.
Yeah. It's a lot beefier now in the early game. It has more HP, so more to cut through, less damage, But that doesn't matter when you have a Cassiopeia and you're this far ahead. You just take whatever you please.
Yeah, and now look at this. Push going to be coming out from Karaoke Machine Broke. They aren't even back, and besides 2013 Weaves. We'll be looking to see if they can close out the game in record time. They still have a lot of time to work with, though, and I don't think Karaoke Machine Broke is going to be looking to give up their lead anytime soon.
No, and now with that bannered up minion in the lane, the bannered up Baron minion, rather, knocking down that tower. There's not much you can realistically do. Truman State need to find the perfect play here to even have a chance. Otherwise, it's over.
Yeah, definitely. And look at the composition for, Truman State. They don't have really any true AD champions. So this cannon minion is currently banner commanded up. It's not going to be going down anytime soon, but look at this. Machine Broke going to be starting a play here, looking for the Carabinian call, but it's going to get interrupted by Highsmith. He's going to get flung into the team right now and knocked back. Going to get taken down, and this should be the final push coming out for Karaoke Machine Broke. They're looking to see if they close the game. The behind-the-lines flank from Doxa looking for the petrifying gaze, able to get the kill onto 2 people for himself. Actually, only 1. Seraph is going to be going down. Mucky going to get interrupted by the Pillar of Ice, but look at this. Doxa is going to be going down, but at a price. The Nexus is going to get destroyed by Truman State. Karaoke Machine Broke are going to be advancing and winning the first game of the round robin for the Champions League play-ins for Risen Esports.
Even though that game was basically put away the second they broke that mid lane inhibitor, that was really smart positioning from Doxa up until the time he basically walked into the Fountain Turret. But by positioning the 4 members of the team above the Nexus and having Doxa come below, they knew that Truman State, the only way they could even think about winning a fight was if they landed that cannon ulti onto all 5 members. And by separating off the carries, it's physically impossible to do that. But even so, Karaoke Machine Broken just were on top of this game from minute 1.
Yeah, definitely. And they absolutely outclassed the draft and the composition and the in-game capabilities of Truman State here. You have to wonder how far Karaoke Machine Broke are going to be going in this game, and all the players played fantastically, although there were a little bit of over-aggression coming out from this team. 056 caught a little bit of times, but most of the time he was drawing pressure for his team to do more stuff in the map.
Honestly, as a Singe, if you have 3 to 4 members on you at all times, you are doing your job no matter how many times you died. And I really think that Karaoke Machine Broken, they didn't quite outperform. They stayed calm. They stuck to their game plan, and they knew exactly what they wanted to get done. It was very thought out League of Legends, but honestly, a lot of that felt like it was Truman State kind of throwing the game away. So now I'm really interested to see in these next few days, where do they actually come back to? Are Karaoke Machine Broken good enough to make it out of this group, or are they simply just better than Truman State? And part of this is we get to find out.
Yeah, definitely. This is a one-day tournament for here. All teams are playing at least 4 games to see who's going to be the top 2 to make it out. And before we end our first game of the day, Returned, I have to ask you a very important question again. Who do you think is going to be your MVP?
Ooh, this one's got to be close to me. I think I'm really going back and forth between Jim and Doxa. I think at the end of the day, it has to be Doxa. Not only did he find a way to win against a Xerath, like, you should never be losing lane as a Xerath, and he managed to outperform our Romantic Shiro so often while still roaming around the map, keeping that kill participation up. 16 kills he was a part of out of the overall 22. I think that is by far just the MVP performance right here.
Oof, yeah, definitely. Doxa had a great performance. My MVP, though, in my opinion, it's going to be a little bit different from yours. I do respect Doxa. I think he's a great player, but I have to give it to 056. I think he generated a lot of pressure and a lot of plays for KMB to work around with. And it wasn't for him drawing aggro to like 4 to 5 people in the bot side. I don't think that early inhibitor would have gone down for Karaoke Machine and Broke. So
I'm not sure he was a champion that game. He no offense, but it like, you know, those kind of like lights you hang out to like attract the flies as they zap into it and die. That was what 056 was. He was just like the bait. And I have to give you, he did a fabulous job of doing that. He was a very good zap trap.
So much pressure being generated by him, but overall, the team of Karaoke Machine Broke did a great job. But it's going to be really interesting to see if Truman State can bounce back after this game 1.
It's definitely a huge hole to get to be put in. But still, if you win out the rest of the season against what should be arguably more aggressive teams than the likes of Karaoke Machine Broken, they do have a chance. They can still take this league and take these play-ins into their control. It's just an incredibly uphill battle. But hey, if we aren't here to see the underdog uphill battles, what are we even doing?
Yeah, definitely. And now we are going to be taking a short break here. But when we come back, don't go anywhere. We're going to be giving you game 2 of the day, and it's going to be a crazy one, folks. Virginia Tech is going to be taking on NC State. This is going to be a great one. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back with the second game for the Risen Esports Champions League.
And take these plays into their control. It's just an incredibly uphill battle. But hey, if we aren't here to see the underdog uphill battles, what are we even doing?
by Murdoch. Now Yoshi King's fallen. Now all the tanks are fallen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Risen Esports Champions League play-ins. This is going to be game number 2 against Virginia Tech, taking on NCSU. Probably our most hyped up matchup of the day. These two teams are top dogs in their block, but before we do start, it's time to go around the rift, and we're going to be giving you updates on what's happened in all the groups, starting with Group A.
Yeah, just to get a quick rundown, we do have the 5 groups. Top 2 of each group do move on to our leagues, but just like you said, in Group A, we have the Big Brain Club taking down Fearless Esports in their first match of the day. Group B, you guys just witnessed Karaoke Machine Broken taking down Truman State in quite convincing fashion. Moving on now to Group C, we have Regarded Schneickelords.
Yep.
That team versus taking down Team Ethiopia in a 1-0 fashion. Finally, actually, no, we do have 2 more matches, but Dramatic Gaming takes down Big Time Rush in the Group D. And now in Group E, we have Stratosphere taking down Team 06.
And I do have to remind
Speaking of Group E, this matchup is coming to you guys live from Group E. NCSU versus Virginia Tech. Winner joined Stratosphere at the top of the league, at top of the group so far, rather.
Yeah, definitely excited to see all this, but don't forget, we do have a second stream going on too. If you missed any of the matchups, you can always go into Risen Esports 2 to catch any matchups that you may have missed in this tournament. I believe Stratosphere and Team 06 was recently streamed in Risen Esports number 2.
Yeah, and I mean, bringing it right back to this matchup here,
Mhm.
North Carolina State University, Virginia Tech, these two teams are a teams with history. We are going to get into the pick and bans, but quick TLDR, both these teams during the Collegiate League of Legends season did come out of the South, and both of them actually making it to the conference playoffs, losing out in the first round to George Mason and to UT Dallas, respectively. But here we go with pick and bans.
Yep, these two teams, this is basically a grudge rematch against these two teams. Virginia Tech started off with the Brandon Ezreal ban, and NCSU, they're going to be going off with the Rivet ban.
Now, NCSU, when they lost to George Mason, they did so with George Mason putting 5 bans each match against mid laner Shadow Vision. So already, Brandon Ezreal, both those should be mid lane bans, so already looking quite a lot better. But so many ADCs going away from VT.
Yeah, definitely. Caitlyn and Ezreal going to be seeing the bench here. Ezreal and Caitlyn, both pretty strong right now. They both have very unique playstyles. Ezreal, along with the double tier build, personally one of my favorite builds I've seen recently in this season so far. But NCSU, they do respond with the Swain ban, who has been taken down a little bit as a notch, but still an annoying champion. But Kai'Sa going to get taken away.
It's still a very standard red side ban. That, along with the Kai'Sa, you just don't want the enemies to get it, so you just are going to take it out on your own. As we do continue to go on through, first pick's actually going to be the Varus. Is Virginia, they put down a lot of ADCs, so they're going to be picking up 1 first rotation.
Yeah, and now look at that. Varus is going to get taken away here. Going to be probably one of the better ADCs that you have of this pool. You still got to look at champions like Tristana and Jhin, who can still be up. Virginia Tech, they prefer the Varus.
And the Varus is kind of in this phase right now where you can build him with the classic AP build. You can build him with the Rage Blade styled AD. Both builds you really do start off with AD, but either way, he's still so much damage at a very low item spike and still scales up pretty well throughout the game. But talking about those junglers like we did last game, Skarner, Trundle, and Olaf are still on the table. Wondering if this Skarner pick does push Virginia Tech into the Olaf pick itself.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. Olaf, a very common counter pick against the Skarner, and you also can find here the ADC pool still very fresh. Zyga to get taken. Now Virginia Tech, they have to see if they can pick the jungle to counter the Skarner. And also, is Rakan going to be a problem? Trundle going to get locked in, along with the Camille.
The Rakan is still on the board. They'd have to lock it in right here if they do actually want to bring it into the game, because you do have those next 2 bans going out. But the Camille on the top side, taking it blind is still a little bit risky. There are still certain matchups where you don't do as well, but the Camille does give that sort of late game scaling presence. Looking at maybe the split pushing potential, something we really were lacking in that last set of matches between Truman State and between Carrick Machine Broken, and there's the Lovers Balling duo.
Yeah, Xayah Rakan making a statement here. The first time we're going to be seeing this here in the Champions League play-in. Blitzkrieg actually going to get banned away here for Virginia Tech, and that means you have to wonder what Virginia Tech are going to be looking to pick here for Desire against the Xayah Rakan lane. Champions like Braum, Alistar, and Morgana still open.
Thresh is kind of the go-to pick when it comes to countering out Rakan, but it is very lane reliant. I also wouldn't be shocked to see something like the Karma or the Morgana coming on out, get that extra shoving potential into something like the Xayah, keep your Varus alive in the laning phase, but there are still so many options here. And of course, in the mid lane, so far, only the one mid laner in Galio, well, actually Galio, Swain, Talia, all receiving bans. So curious to see what they actually do end up rounding out with. And now NCSU, they can pick their top laner while still holding on to the mid lane for the counter pick.
Yep, and now NCSU, they're looking to see if they're going to be picking the top or the mid lane here. Camille already up on the table for Virginia Tech, so NCSU probably looking to see if they can pick into it. Malphite actually going to get locked in for NCSU, and I don't think Malphite's does that too good in the Camille, but
no, this is the counter matchup. Malphite does phenomenally in the Camille because Camille's all about the physical damage, and Malphite just doesn't take any. He just exists in the lane. What are you really gonna do?
Yeah, that's true. You know, this is going to be my first time seeing the matchup, so I'm quite excited to see the Camille into the Malphite here. You don't want to mess with the Unstoppable Force. Still a very game-defining ultimate here, but Rise is going to get locked in for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, there's still quite a few mid lane picks here. A little bit sketchy taking the Rise blind pick, especially when something like the Cassiopeia is still on the board. Though, I mean, once again, Shadow Vision has a very deep pool. He is a very outspoken Ahri player that could definitely be coming out. The LeBlanc as well has been really a pinnacle of mid lane as of late. You can get so much Snowblade potential off that, especially now that they've reverted it basically to old style LeBlanc. But I mean, now there's so many options. And of course, This is actually his number one go-to pick. He is a Dirty Zoe main, and we'll be bringing that one for our match today.
Oh man, Zoe.
He loves this champion. Absolutely loves it. If you look at his solo queue record, it's like Zoe.
Oh Lord. Well, Zoe, a very, very tricky and a skippy champion here. Gonna be causing a lot of mayhem for this matchup against Virginia Tech here. Jana, though, to round out the composition for Virginia Tech in the bot side. And Jana, very strong support, I would say.
Yeah.
But very excited to see how they do against the Cybercon.
You haven't actually seen a lot of Jana as of late. The last time we saw Jana coming up super hard was kind of in the tank bot lane meta, when you also had the newfound appreciation of WMAX Jana. Of course, Riot did absolutely gut this champion by taking out 5 movement speed and 5 damage off the W. Not super OP anymore, but it still gets the job done. The question is whether there's actually going to be enough disengage coming out from Joe Jacko to actually keep the Zyra Khan off his ADC, because a well-played Jana could very easily get this Varus to that 2M spike, but a poorly played Jana will be killed almost instantaneously.
Yeah, and now as we do head into the in-client picks and bans, these two teams not only do get the time to discuss the composition, but they are going to have to think about how they want to play into this game. Once again, these two teams, very, very well known in the collegiate scene. Virginia Tech against NCSU. Super excited to see how they do in the Risen Esports scene. And considering that these two teams are projected to be the top dogs of their groups, this is going to be the game to decide who's going to be potentially going to get that first place spot.
Yeah, I mean, once again, just like you said, I wouldn't be shocked to see both these teams banking it out. Stratosphere, still a little bit of a question mark for me. Haven't seen too much of these guys play, and Team 06 lost the first match, already putting themselves at a huge disadvantage. But I think the match right here we have in front of us is going to tell us a lot about how these two teams actually do stack up against each other. Because despite having identical records at 5-1 during the group stages for the Riot Games Collegiate League of Legends play-in state, not play-in, but the group stage in the Southern region, they never actually got to play against each other. They had the similar records, probably would have played against each other if they had one more week in the regular season, and then were knocked out before they could meet each other in the playoffs. So this is kind of one of the big collegiate analysts. How would this match actually go? And I personally, maybe a little bit biased, but do have to put my advantage over to NCSU, not just because of the players, but because of the such hard engaged competition that they have put together with the Zyra Khan, with the Malphite, with the Skarner, but also just how they played during the season. They always stepped up when it came to be time, except for maybe the last time when they did lose to George Mason. But even so, they do seem to be having the edge here for me.
Yeah, well, Virginia Tech, I do have to give respect to the competition too. You know, you talked about the massive engagement NCSU have, but you look at Virginia Tech, they do have the Camille, the Trundle, and Varus along with the John to really disrupt any engage potentially with their respective ultimates and skills. But, you know, NCSU, very fun and interesting composition here. I'm excited to see hard engage team fighting potential from this team, and I'm so excited how this game's going to turn out.
Fun's definitely an important word right there, but looking back at Virginia Tech, the one thing I do have to kind of put a question mark on is the combination of the Varus Rise and the Camille. So with the Camille, Virginia Tech, especially without having a tank anywhere else on the map, are more opting in towards a split push styled composition. Eventually, I know it's a very hard matchup, but Camille will outpush the Malphite. Just 6 items Camille versus 6 item Malphite usually will get something done. The issue then comes if the Camille goes for the split push, your wave clear composition that you need to disengage has that Rise plus Varus plus a Trundle. And sure, you do have a John on top of that. Does make it a little bit easier, but Varus and Rise are very immobile. If they get jumped on, they don't really have a way out.
Yeah, it's a very interesting composition here that we see from both teams. As you stated, both teams looking to play a little bit of a different game from each other. And CSU, a more of a team fight oriented comp. And like you said, Virginia Tech, they're looking to split up the team. And now, as we do head into spectator delay, once again, it's going to be 3 minutes. You know, once again, NCSU is your flag. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rentern. You have them winning this game?
Yes, NCSU do have my favorites right now. I think they just have more potential, not only with their composition, but with their player base. They have the Zyra Khan on the bot lane. They have the Malphite straight count on the top lane. And they have the Zoe in the mid lane. There's just so much they can get done. And sure, if they don't do anything, they will lose the match. But seeing how they played, especially in the Collegiate League of Legends tournament, they do have what it takes to get stuff done.
Definitely, and I'm super excited once again to see this. My vote, though, is going to be going over to Virginia Tech. I'm very excited to see how their composition works out. I always loved seeing more or less on teams working with these compositions on how they played a macro game, and I have full confidence that Virginia Tech should know on how their champions work and how they're going to be playing around the map. But once again, both sides, they do have the pros and cons.
Definitely. Like, I do give the edge to NCSU, but that being said, there are also downfalls with their competition, mostly being the Zyra, Khan plus Zoe don't do too insanely much in the early game. It requires very heavily on playmaking, and one misplay between a Malphite ulti or a Rakan engage could easily mean the end of a fight, the end of a match. And I mean, Ryze and Varus may be mobile, but it doesn't matter that much if you're just that far ahead. So they still need to play this very safely. NCSU need to be the ones actually setting up the plays and making them happen. Otherwise, just not too much left.
Yeah, and now we have 1:19 left in respect to who do you think is going to be winning this game? Hashtag Virginia Tech or hashtag NCSU. I want to hear it out, and it's going to be a very exciting game on our hands, folks. A sneak preview on what's to come in the Champions League for Risen Esports. 1 minute left. I'm so excited to see on what the Zoe can do. Actually, I haven't really actually seen Zoe in such a long time.
Zoe's definitely fallen off, especially after her latest round of changes. Took a lot of the damage away from the E plus Q combination, but the facts still stay the same. If you can consistently find the sleepy time triple bubble into the Q shots repeatedly, you will kill your direct lane opponent. And any amount of advantage that Shadow Vision gets, it's going to hurt that much more. But also, you're talking about how the Ryze plus the Varus is very, very mobile. So is the Zoe. I mean, sure, she can take away the flashes of other members, but if she doesn't have that ready on standby, it's not that hard to go throw down the trundle pillar, go gank her, and she's just dead.
Yep. Zoe, she is taking that defensive heal, though, for herself. See if she can get out. And wondering if she is going to be taking that spell book or if it's going to be something else to kind of give her a little bit more of a safety net.
It should be interesting. I'm getting a little bit of an issue where I think the league forgot that there was a minute left, and it shows you guys just joining us now in the match. We are loading up to the play in tournament for Risen Esports North America.
Yeah.
And with that, I am getting load screen, so we will have our champions coming on in.
Yeah, definitely. On the blue side is going to be Virginia Tech on God Gavin on the Trundle Jungle, Diz on the Ryze mid lane. Fong Francis on the Varus spot lane, along with Joe Jacko on support channel.
And on the red side, it is none other than NCS top lane Popper. In the jungle, we got Pluck and Penguin. Shadow Visions on the Zoe in the mid lane. Barcode and Hani will be rounding out the duo on ADC and support.
Love the Barcode names. Always very unique twists.
Just a barcode. Just
Barcode. Many of them. Who remembers Barcode Killer? Because I do. That was season 3 or season 4.
Well, either way, we do have a match coming up, and this time though, no electrocute Braum, so very unfortunate, but everything else looks a lot more standard here.
Yeah, and the summon area going to be coming out for Shadow longer book. I know Zoe's used to take that, but due to the changes to the spell book, I think it's a less appetizing change now. And now both teams probably looking for a 5-point defense here, it looks like.
You know, it has a super hard level 1. Nobody with a Morgana, no one with a Braum, no one with any sort of Thresher Alistar, so no huge incentive to go in and invade this early on. Though it does look like Virginia Tech will be taking the slightly more aggressive approach. Here in the mid lane, though, I do actually want to highlight the minion Demon is going onto Shadow Visions, but not onto DZH. Because that's actually fairly impactful, because Ryze on the last few patches, they actually nerfed his ability to wave clear early on in the game. His E spell flux is much more mana intensive at those early levels and does a little bit less damage to the minions themselves. Ooh, but Yade. Don't have to be careful here.
Yeah, no fracture from the Skarner, so he isn't going to get stunned up there, so thank goodness for that. Could have been bad.
Yeah, but now we are actually going to be going back to the lanes. Curious here from Barcode and Hani, looking like they may be trying to make an aggressive play in the Tribush, but little do they know. Actually, wait. Joe Jacko is still there.
He spots them out, but Hani and Barcode not going to be able to get the first pounce onto the support there. So now both junglers going to be starting at the same side of the map, and this game is going to be underway for Virginia Tech and NCSU.
Yeah, and as these lanes do play out, definitely keep your eyes on the pushing potential between Shadow Visions and DZH, because DZH going to be looking to either call some assistance over, try to shut down Shadow Visions in the lane early, but Hani going in so quickly.
Yeah, and now Barcode is going to be doing as much damage yet, but Funk Francis and Joe Jacko, we saw a little bit of an unfortunate misplay. They both used their wards at the same time, so they're not going to be able to get that river ward that they still wanted. So they are prone to a gank, so you got to be really careful.
Yeah, it is a Skarner, though. You're not going to see the Skarner pull off ganks at the level 3 mark. Usually you wait till level 6, but at that point, his ganks are so incredibly impactful. Hani and Barcode, though, do hit level 2 first. Not going to be able to take anything off of this one just yet.
Yep. Joe Jacko.
There it is. The Janna damage. Coming up with the W Max. And keep in mind, Hani and Joe Jacko both started with the Spell Thief's Edge. Normally, you actually see people going back and forth on both these champions between Spell Thief's Edge and the Ancient Coin. Very aggressive from Plunkin.
Yep, God Gavin gonna be able to spot him out in his own jungle. They're able to defend his Raptors for a little bit, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble is gonna be able to put him to sleep, and this Raptor is probably going over to Pluckin.
Yeah, and without those minion dematerializers, DZH is getting shoved in early game. That allows Shadow to be play pressed up and enable Plunkin Penguin to go for these early invades. And sure, not gonna be able to get too dreadfully much as yet so far, just walking with those chickens. But I mean, ever since they took out the catch-up XP in the jungle, if you can get any sort of lead in the jungle, it usually tends to stick.
Yep, definitely. Now Hani once again going in, but that damage, along with the Ignite from Hani, is going to be a little bit low, going to be forced to use more of his potions. As you see, he is going to be taking the refillable potion, so he's going to be looking to be a little bit more gold efficient on this team. But Funk Francis and Joe Jacko currently getting shoved under top.
Yeah, so far, Jacko's doing a pretty good job, and you do expect the Zyra Khan lane to be walking out on the early levels with the advantage, whereas the Varus does kind of come back around when you have the Rage Blade, but Invade now, they're...
That Sleepy Trouble Bubble does not connect, so that allows Diz and God Gavin to be a little bit more forward with their aggression. But they're not really going to find anything there. The junglers just going to be both going back to their own respective sides of them.
And Dono could be looking to make a little bit more early aggressive plays if he so chooses, but Plunkin Penguin so far does seem to be doing a good job of keeping him under control, as really a gank from the Treadmill can very quickly break open any one of these lanes. Top lane Malphite, sure, he's beefy, but if he gets locked down for long enough, he's not gonna be doing too dreadfully hot in that side lane. Bot lane even, Zyra Khan, sure, you do have a good amount of mobility, but good pillar could easily lock him down.
Yep, and now let's look back into topside. Yade, surprisingly, not surprisingly actually, going to be able to have to see a little bit of a CS lead. You see, he's constantly training with Whoppers, but currently neither of these top laners have really fallen yet. And like you said, both these top laners, all they're just aiming to do is just get to their point where they can just take over the game respectively in their own, little ways. Like Whoppers with his ultimate, when he gets that, it's going to be a huge wave of engage for NCSU. But Yade, he's going to reach that point where he's going to be pretty much unstoppable in this top lane split push.
Yeah, normally the first item spike you do see is the Sheen item. Depends on how well Whopper's actually farming, as he is a little bit down. Not going to be able to as effectively counter out the Strahd damage, but of course, into the ADC, into a Q on the top lane, he's going to be very happy building some armor.
Yade, gonna feel pretty good about his 9 CS lead top side, while the rest of the map, they're pretty close and the only noticeable deficit, like we said, is going to be definitely in that top lane. So not as bloody as the first game we've cast in today, but the early game generally pretty slow. And like you said, we're waiting on Plunkin Penguin to hit that level 6 for that pretty fast engage.
Sleepy Time Trouble Bubble might actually be able to follow up on that. Hits the exhaust just because he can.
Yep, gotta remember about the spell feast on, yeah,
there's a smite. Go in and smite that lane right away.
Now look at this still. God Gavin Ping, he's going to be on his way. It's still level 6 to Pillar of Ice. Going to be slowing down Shadow Vision.
Plunkin Penguin's behind him.
Not going to be able to do too much.
Yeah, it's a very aggressive play coming up from God Gavin, but Shadow Visions with enough discipline, enough just presence of mind to throw down Sleep Time Trouble Bubble and get him right on out of this one. So far, God Gavin hasn't really found his place on the map. Hani going in.
And look at this right now. It's going to be a little bit of a trade coming in once again into bot side. Hani's still looking to see if he can do anything, but now look at the mid lane. That's going to be the hashtag ultimatum. Shadow Vision's going to be locked up. First blood going off here to Diz, but now look, this Unstoppable Force going to be coming out for Whoppers. And now if we look back to the mid lane here, please, thank you. Just first blood going to be going down for Shadow Visions, and quite unfortunate, but Diz got to feel really good about that first kill.
Yeah, the big thing that Shadow Visions on the Zoe, and just Zoes in general, you do so well when you're looking at that long-range poke, the long-range engage, but when they get right on your face like the Camille, there's just nowhere left to go, and boom, he is immediately dropped.
Virginia Tech looking for the aggressive early game plays for themselves. They want to once again try to see if they can get the lead so they can just take over the game with their split push power. But now we're going to have to wait and see what the next opportunity is going to be. Pluck and Pinkwood finally hits that level 6 mark, wondering what his first objective is going to be.
The bot lane.
Barcode going to be taking a little load. Flash forward. Knight could be going down.
He's got no heal.
Yeah, he doesn't have it, but Battle Dance should be able to save him. Barcode almost going down there. That's going to be a flash trade, including an Ignite.
Yeah, but that was actually a little bit of a miscommunication between Joe, Jacko, and Fong. Because that could have been an easy kill if they flashed forward, but now, got to deal with 5 members.
Yeah, Shadow Visions, along with Pluck and Penguin, are now towards the bot side, but Fong Francis was able to flash away from any threat. Did cost Hani also his flash, so now everyone in the bot lane not going to be having that summoner, unfortunately. But NCSU trying to see if they get something back for themselves, but unfortunately not able to find anything.
Not looking too good though, but Sleepy Time Trouble Bubble.
Ooh, a lot of damage on the Diz. But Diz with the counter engage, he's looking for the slow kill. Shadow Vision is very low, but able to just back off here. And Diz on this rise so far, doing a great job.
Yeah, Shadow Vision just isn't able to land enough poke, and Diz, sometimes when you're against the Zoe, you get hit with that Sleep Time Trouble, you just completely freak out. But no, this is good, calm, and collected play coming out from the Rise. And he's just doing a phenomenal job in the scaling, in the farming.
Looking for the dive here, and the Sleep Trouble Bubble is going to put Yate, and now Diz going to be going down. Great Impale coming out from Pluck and Penguin to get himself the kill there, and along with the bubble here, but now Shadow Vision is going to be on the run here. No flash for himself, is going to be trying to see if he can stall off enough, but now Shadow Vision is going to be looking to see if he's going down. Pluck and Penguin does get the kill into God Gavin though, and that is still a 2-for-1, and now NCSU has to feel good about that play.
Yeah, that was actually a great play made from Pluck and Penguin. He smelled Yade coming down from the top lane, was able to counter up that dive in. Once again, just a step too far from Virginia Tech. Not able to fall through on that play, but now Varus might be on the wrong side of this lane.
Yeah, Varus not gonna be in too much trouble in the top lane once again. A little bit of a trade coming out. No Sheen just yet for Yedu. Yed is gonna be getting that Tiamat to see if he can get pushing potential for himself. 9 minutes in, about to hit 10. Cloud Drake is still going to be the first dragon up, and neither team has gone to contest it just yet.
It's not really that important. Whenever you see an Infernal Drake on the board, you always see that first drag going down before the 10-minute mark. But when Drake, if neither team really has that great advantage, it's not really going to go over that quickly in the laning phase. But we can start actually checking out who's really got these advantages. The gold lead overall is pretty darn close, but individual lanes are going back and forth, and the big ones for me do have to be DCH in this mid lane and Pluck and Penguin on the jungle role, but Hani TP
topping it, doesn't get it though. The TP coming out for Yeti, but Pluck and Penguin gonna be going down first. Diz gonna be able to get that route onto Hani, but he's not gonna be going down just yet. The quickening a little bit overeager there, but unfortunately Pluck and Penguin does go down as a result.
Yeah, and that is just yet another half-formulated plan coming out from NCSU. They don't completely pull the trigger, and what I want to see is I want to see Whoppers in one of these plays. If you're going to make a play as NCSU, it's got to be big. Bring the rock.
Yeah, definitely. Whoppers, though, unfortunately did not have that teleport up available to him during that bot line play. Should mean that Virginia Tech were able to get the advantage since they did have the Rise teleport coming in too, to kind of dissuade NCSU from anything, but good kiting by the fact of Fong and Joe Jackal to really just slow down Plug and Pinguin. Didn't let him get the impale onto either of them, and overall they were able to get the kill onto him.
Yeah, they're doing good right now, and honestly, once again, we're looking at the bot lane matchup. Varus, Janna, they just want to farm. They don't need a lead. They just need to not die repeatedly to this bot lane of the Zion Rakan, and so far, it's been going pretty well. They haven't died a single time. They are, in fact, down nearly that 20 CS mark, so could be going better, but the Rage Blade has to be the eye in the prize for the Varus.
Yeah, definitely. He is going to be getting to that Rage Blade quite soon. He currently has 607 gold under his belt. He's going to need a little bit more, probably around 1,300, I think. I think it's like 1,900 to complete right now, but I don't know. I can't really be doing math right now. You see, though, in the top side, God Gavin going to be continuing to clear his jungle. Blue buff going to be up very shortly.
He's Plucking again.
He's probably going to hand it out to Diz. Yeah, though Plucking has other plans. He's waiting for his opportunity to strike. He is going to show up. Predator is going to get pop damage. Looks like Joe Jackal gonna get taken down here. Is gonna get taken down, and an immediate pause, as I believe Joe Jackal unfortunately had a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, he did disconnect there, trying to find out why he did not back off that tower, and that is possibly the worst time possible to DC there, but does look like NCSU will not only be picking up that kill, they'll also be picking up this bot lane kill, and this is finally good planning coming out from NCSU. Sure, they shouldn't have had that play because it's on the bot lane wards, but they waited for the play. They see God Gavin right now in the top side of the jungle, in the top river, right above mid lane, on that control ward, and they pull the trigger.
Yep, and now you see Fong Francis screen. There
He's
is.
Dead. That man is dead.
Yeah, there's pretty much no way he's getting out. He doesn't have flash. He only has heal, but probably not going to pop it. And fortunately for him, he's going to be seeing the gray screen quite soon. But that's just unfortunate if you're NCSU. But I'm sure they could bounce back. But Virginia Tech. But look at NCSU. After this bot lane play, I think they should be looking to get that first tower gold onto themselves.
Yeah, and just look at the towers all across the map. I know you guys can't see it right now, but the icon lane, the top lane T1 tower 4 from Virginia Tech, it's pretty darn low already. I mean, there's nothing that says NCSU can't make this first play bot lane, grab the tower, push out the wave back, throw 4 to 5 members on top lane, and just finally find that snowballing advantage off these towers that they've been waiting for the whole game.
Yep, and now gonna be waiting for this pause to unpause per usual. Let's talk about the other matchups in the lane. Looks at the mid lane though. Diz currently looking to sport around a 30 CS deficit against Shadow Visions, and the Zoe fortunately not doing too hot in lane, currently 0-2.
Yeah, currently sitting on about 1.6k gold overall, 3.7 to 4.5k total gold per side. And yeah, Shadow Visions, he was kind of the carrier for this team during the Collegiate League of Legends Cup. You do have to keep in mind that NCSU haven't actually played a game together since the Collegiate League of Legends Cup. That was about a month ago. So certainly shaking off a few. I haven't played a competitive game, rather. But either way, Shadow just hasn't been having a good game. He's been put down basically each and every single time he's tried to make something happen. And DCH, probably the core carrier for Virginia Tech, is doing a fabulous job with this. And they need to be able to adapt to play around these side lanes. And the ball lane play does definitely show signs of that. But you got to also wonder how much of that play can you really take into consideration, given that the support that just died into the tower wasn't actually playing the game.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. But I don't think Virginia Tech are going to be too set back. Hopefully we have Joe Jackal joining us quite shortly. He is still currently trying to see if he can reconnect here. And I think a very interesting point here, 12 minutes in. Last game, Dragon was going to be well contested, but that was because Kyokushin Broke had a dominant lead, but this time basically untouched by either team here, probably showing a little bit more focus onto the lanes.
Exactly, and I mean, when you're just looking at exactly what the Virginia Tech comp wants to do as you go further and further into this game, they just need to scale up. This advantage that they have at the 12-minute mark of 500 gold, it's pretty good right now, but you need to just keep growing that lead onto Fong, keep growing that lead onto DZH, and hold out at least the T2 line for as long as humanly possible. Because that will give time for the Camille in the top lane to finally start out-pushing Whoppers, or maybe even looking just to out-rotate him so he doesn't have to deal with the Malphite. It'll give time for DZH to be that tank shredding threat he needs to be. And Fong, of course, very happy to be going with yet another damage dealer. And I honestly wouldn't be shocked at this point to see an AP Varus build be coming out here, because Whoppers is going to be stacking armor. if you hit him with 2 AP carries, he might not last that long.
Yep, the EP Varus build, very prevalent for his item set here. He usually does take the Nashor's 2 for himself and then starts to build that Death Cap. And considering that Varus pretty much has a bunch of AP ratios, it actually does favor him a lot, and it synergizes very well with the fact that he does love to rush that Rage Blade.
Exactly. The Varus has always been in the meta ever since the Rage Blade changes because he can hit that spike around 2 items. A lot of the crit ADCs nowadays, the Caitlyn, the Jhin, even the Zai to some extent, even though she kind of spikes a little bit earlier, do spike off of the 3 items. They get the Static Shiv item, not Static Shiv, but just the Zeal item followed by an Infinity Edge, followed by another Zeal item, just to get up to that 70% crit, that 250% crit damage. And just honestly, just having the most damage possible for the greatest amount of money possible. And that's where you see all these ADCs like the Varus coming in with basically 2-item spike. The Ezreal, now he's got a little bit of a delayed 3-item spike with the double tier items, but it's still usually earlier and cheaper than you go with a crit build. And having an ADC that does more early in the game is so advantageous in this meta. And finally, looks like we do have the reconnect.
Woo! After 6 minutes of pause, we finally do see connect. Hopefully we get this game underway. But if there's one thing people love in League of Legends, it's efficient with their gold usage, and the Rage Blade Varus build definitely a great way to maximize Varus's damage, along with building items that really just help him out.
Exactly. And once that Varus hits his mid-game power spike, he's going to be incredibly strong, but does really need to be careful of both the, not even both, but all 3 of the, all 4. The Malphite in the top lane engage, you have the Skarn who can jump into the back lines, you have Shadow Vision who has a Sleepy Time Trouble Bubble, and you have a Zyra Khan. Everything on that enemy team can very easily kill you, and if Fong stays alive, he's going to carry these fights single-handedly, but that staying alive part is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. And just to kind of update you on the state of the Champions Playing League tournament, we do have one of our games finishing up in Group B. Orion does fall to Michigan State University, so Michigan State University is going to be up in the leaderboards currently 2-0 in that group, while both teams right now still trying to solve their connection issues in this pause for this game, Virginia Tech against NCSU, and hopefully you have the game to you underway. But I think another thing I do have to talk about, Trundle, very interesting build. We don't really see this too often. Trundle's usually like to rush Z Convergence, but he is going to be opting for the Tiamat to help his clear.
Exactly. You just want to be able to stay up and then clear versus the Skarner. He's already a little bit behind, so he just needs that little extra build, a little extra part to actually catch up and build. I do expect him to eventually go, but then there's the engage, and just like we said, Fong, he immediately falls.
Feels bad. What a anticlimactic pause there, but not really much you can do there when you're looking at yourself about to die for the last 7 minutes. But now that we're back underway, Virginia Tech against NCSU. Thank goodness for the unpause there. 3 people currently on the bot side. NCSU, they're going to be looking for the first Tower of Blood, while Yade and Whoppers continuing to pressure each other into top side.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's going to be that first tower falling, so keep your eyes on what NCSU do with this rotation. This is going to be their first actual advantage, and of course, we're has another pause.
Yep, quite unfortunate, but, people do have issues all the time, and we hope that they can get them resolved. Sometimes there's stuff that does happen that are beyond our control, but let's talk about this top lane matchup here. Camille, we talked about gold efficiency once, and Camille, she has to buy Tiamat to get that clear, and also has to buy her components for Trinity Force, while Whoppers already has that Sunfire Cape, and he's just able to just tank up so much damage with this Camille. So
yeah, Whoppers is going to be probably building on the... I wouldn't be shocked to see him build the Ninja Tabi as well, just to have even more defensiveness against the auto attacks of Yade. The big thing with Camille is when you pair her Q, the leg extra shot, when you buffer the leg out attack, it gives you the second one with bonus damage, basically amplifying your Sheen proc. You do so much damage not only to towers, but to any carries that are in the lane. And add on top of that, the ability to dodge away from big impact ultimates with that ult of Hextech Ultimatum. You have a great dueling champion, but you also now have to find some way to factor in the sheer, just massive armor that Malphite is. He is the counter to the Camille, and he's going to be able to do a great job throughout the game. Fortunately, NCSU do need to eventually take Whoppers out of the side lane, use them on the engage, and that's where Virginia Tech can actually start to find the split push game when there is no enemy top laner.
Yep, It's pretty interesting to see this matchup. It's not so often Virginia Tech, it's top laner Yater Aid and Whoppers on the Malphite, but it's going to be really interesting to see how the late game plays out for these two. Like you said, in the Champion Select, Camille is going to eventually scale up to that point where he is going to be able to take over for the split push, while Whoppers is still going to have the impact of engage with the Unbreakable Will. I mean, not the Unbreakable Will, that's Ulster, with the Unstoppable Force. And the interesting thing I really noticed while scanning through everyone's skill build is that Hani, on this Rakan, actually opted to get the Gleaming Quill first up. I usually see Rakans that love to get the Grand Entrance first, but against this John of Ours bot lane, I can see why he went and opted to get the Q max first.
Normally what you do in high poke lanes is you take 3 points of the Q just so you have the sustain, and then go for the Battle Dance, just so you have that extra little bit of sustain. Mm-hmm. Because honestly, your W, your Grand Entrance, it's not really getting that more stats other than a little bit of cooldown reduction when you level it up. And you do want to go with your E earlier on, just so you have the extra shields. But you do get so much damage. Keep in mind, with the Janna W's coming out constantly, Fong on the Varus has so much range. And I do want to remind you guys, we do have a 10-minute pause limit per team, and we are coming up on that. So we should be seeing a resume of this matchup one way or another.
Quite unfortunate that, unfortunately, the issue with Joe Jacko cannot get finished. So now Virginia Tech is going to be looking to play this game the best they can. Hopefully, Joe Jacko can get his issues resolved as soon as he can. That's quite unfortunate, especially on a play-in tournament for this league, for issues like these to happen. And now NCSU against Virginia Tech will continue after the 10-minute pause limit is going to be up. And now look at this. The first trick is going to be going over to NCSU, and this game will be continuing with this bot tower destroyed.
And that's absolutely devastating for the Virginia Tech team, because remember, they have to disengage a lot of these fights around the mid to late game away from Zyra Khan. And a huge part of that is going to be falling onto the head of the Janna. It's incredibly hard to do when you don't actually have the Janna in the game.
Yeah, Faris pretty immobile. He does have the Chains of Corruption to kind of have that utility along with the Hail of Arrows, slow people down, but he doesn't really have any true mobility to get him out of sticky situations. And now Fong Francis is going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Hanai with the boots of mobility. Fong Francis trying to see if he can 2v1 here, but that's just quite unfortunate for him. The double teleport coming out here, and that's going to be Yater Ye trying to see if he can get anything about this. But look at this. Whoppers is going to join along with God Gave, and a little bit of a 2v4 going to be coming in. This is not looking good for Virginia Tech. NCSU are just going to be able to clean up the kills here. God Gavin now going to be the sole member, and 5 members of NCSU triple kill going over to Barcode, and that's just unfortunate for Fung Francis.
You really have to wonder what Virginia Tech is thinking taking that fight. Fong steps up knowing that he's going to be in a 2. Doesn't have a Rage Blade yet, doesn't have a support on his back, and was relying on the teleport. Well, NCSU just raised the 1 teleport more, and they just basically threw any advantage they had away, giving NCSU not only the 4v5 man advantage, but also now a huge gold lead to actually play around for this mid-game. Bordering on about that 2.4k, so not unsurmountable, but definitely not something to scoff at.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, apparently, Joe Jackal has reconnected with League of Legends, once again telling us that he should be back, quote-unquote. But hopefully he does return. But now Fong Francis, once again, is going to be the target here. Does have Flash up, but look at this. The Predator is going to get proc. He's going to get stunned up. And once again, taking down Shadow Vision is going to be able to kill 2 kills. 2 deaths within around a minute, actually. Fong Francis going down once again.
And remember, right before the pause was that dive into the bot lane, so Fong dies the last 3 minutes. So very unfortunate to see, but not only, sometimes you have to live with disadvantages. You can't always account for everything to be perfect Dandy Dory, but when you have a disadvantage, you need to accept it and play with it. This time, he played like he still had a Janna. He played like he still had vision in the river, and he just immediately gets put down by it. And this is now going to be a huge disadvantage that they need to come back from.
Yep, Yater Ye trying to get the 1v1 against the 4-0 Zaya here. Barcode able to take him out. Almost. Yater Ye extreme low. Now he's down 2 summoners, but now look at this to engage. The dive happening under tower. Yater Ye is going to get taken down by Hanai of gets the kill by himself, does not have the assist, quote-unquote. But look at this now. Joe Jacko along with God Gave and trying to see if they can do something here, but Barcode and Hanai probably just going to be looking to back off.
Yeah, they just got a very aggressive play, got to extend their gold lead even further. But now, with Plucking back going on the mid lane, they might be going to look even further.
Impale is up. Able to get him down, and now Diz is kind of look to see if he's going down. He does get the shield from his passive, but now Hanai, once again, looking for the tower dive. Not going to be able to find anything. Battle dances on his out. And Diz forced to flash out of there, almost getting taken down.
Yeah, Hani looking just so incredibly aggressive. But NCSU are going to be able to find that mid lane tower, and this is the snow they need to keep on rolling.
Shadow Visions, once again, looking for the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, able to land, but can't fully take that person out. God gave and able to get out quite alive. The top laners have moved on bot, but the NCSU currently trying to see if they can make the most out of their lead. They're going to consistently push that top lane out, and now Fong Francis forced to back off here. He does not want to be in the receiving end of pain.
Herald is still up in the top lane, and Fong never actually backed, so they could collapse with him, but no, they're going to opt in for that Herald. Or maybe not. Barcode and Shadow Vision's trying to move on up, but nope, that's just a little bit too late. Won't find an AC here.
Yep, and Rift Herald going to be going down, and they're going to have two mutual objectives under their belt right now. They currently have 4 turrets up against Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech, unfortunately, due to technical issues, they find themselves in one heck of a predicament. Now they're going to be playing from behind for the rest of the game. All of their tier 1 towers have been taken down. They only have the tier 2 in the top side, and their inhibitor tower, and the bot side, sorry, the mid tower is down. And now they're going to have to look to play a little bit defensive because they do not want NCSU to continue snowballing.
And as we are still in the Champions League play-ins, remember, this is a single round robin elimination tournament, basically. And not elimination, but single round robin styled match where only the top 2 actually make it out of the groups. Losing the first match of the day is such not only a moral downfall, but also just a huge deficit. But mid lane,
Grand entrance into the quickening. Hanai able to get that little kill for himself. That's got to feel so good for him right now. And Barcode backing up his support here. The push is going to continue for NCSU. Ruthless aggression coming out from this team right now. This turret is probably going to be going down with the hero turret spawning 18 minutes in. We don't want this turret to die here, but unfortunately, due to circumstances, it's probably going to be going down. Yep, Herald gets that kill.
And they've got Whoppers who they could look to end the game. Chain
of Corruption. Not going to be able to get Fong Francis. He's so incredibly low. The Zoe does so much damage, and NCSU are relentless with their push. They're going to be continuing to see if they can get an advantage here. And Hani actually going to be looking, once again, a little bit aggressive. He doesn't have the ultimate just yet, but Virginia Tech probably not going to be able to get anything. 18 minutes and 50 seconds, the turret is going to be the inhibitor will be falling here as Hani, once again, going to be a little bit aggressive. Oh, the unstoppable floor, going to be going in. Diz is going to get taken down, and Barcode is going to be unstoppable now. Great Impale onto God Gave It is not going to be seeing the light of day there. The Gray Skiing going to be coming out, and Yade going to be avoiding the grand entrance, trying to see if we can do anything here, but it looks like Virginia Tech may be lucky. Oh, Shadow Visions gets bursted by the Trinity Force, but overall, Yade now could be going down, and Joe Jekyll trying to flash away, but is going to get taken down by Barcode. He is not going to be dominating 6-0-4, and NCSU are looking to close out this game.
15 seconds left in the death timers. This would be a very risky and aggressive end to the game. Could just pull the Baron buff right now, but yeah, I think that's actually what they're going to be doing, as too many timers are coming back up. They don't want to push it that hard.
Yep, and now look at this as they are going to be looking for the Baron buff here. NCSU are going to be positioning themselves here to get to top lane, but unfortunately, Virginia Tech, they have decided to surrender due to their technical issues. Leave. They are going to be moving on to the tournament with a loss under their belt, but unfortunately, this is going to be going over to NCSU. 2020, due to surrender, they were able to get a 9K gold advantage, and they're going to be walking away with the victory over Virginia Tech.
Wow, that is a very strange end to the game. I understand at that point, yeah, it does look very, very unlikely they're going to be able to come back from it, but I felt that even with that disconnect, there were so many things Virginia Tech could have done. Fong basically gave 2 kills away once he had no more support right after the kill, and it really looked like that Virginia Tech lost their heads after the disconnect, and very unfortunate to see. And you always hate to see a surrender as the ending of a match here.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of issues arise in environment in which is decided by the internet, and sometimes it can be unpredictable. A lot of outside issues could affect how you play the game, and at this point, not really much that Virginia Tech could have done there due to that disconnect. But like I said, there were a lot of opportunities that could have happened, but Virginia Tech probably opting to take the surrender and move on, hopefully continuing the run in the play-ins and trying to see what they can do, and maybe along the way trying to get this issue resolved. But if you look at the damage charts, funny enough, Jana did the most damage on Virginia Tech.
No way.
He did.
Oh my god, he did. Oh my god, he did. I don't think I've ever seen anything that has summed up a match so perfectly. But he's actually right. Jana with 4.833 damage. 4.8k damage. Camille is the next one up with 4.5k. And that's just everyone trying to lane out for as long as possible. And once the laning phase was over, they just didn't do anything. Rage Boy was just completed on Varus, and they surrendered at the 20-minute mark. So, very unfortunate. Curious to see the damage, but with that win, Virginia Tech do look to moving on down quite heavily now in their groups. They will be joining the bottom of the table. Still a chance to come back because they're only one game now out of that first place position. But it's got to be an uphill battle from here. And hopefully, like we said before, they can also get their support back, as one of those usually does help.
I think Virginia Tech still has the potential to get into the play-ins here. They are a strong team. Don't let this game, kind of just make your first impressions about Virginia Tech. They are a strong team. It's just issues, that arise for them that did cause them to play the way they did. But I do hope to see the rematch between these two teams because
I hope. I think both these teams do overall deserve a spot. Curious to see if Stratosphere does actually top out Virginia Tech, or even if Team 6 does come on back. But I still think that even with the disconnects here, the way that Virginia Tech handled them is very telling. It doesn't give me the most confidence in them, and they're really going to have to step up now in these next few matches if they want to show that they deserve this matchup into our actual Champions League. But just like that will be the end of our personal coverage here, as we will continue on throughout the day with the rest of the matches coming in, and hopefully we'll have our Champions League decided before too long.
Yeah, definitely a ton of fun here. And like we said, Virginia Tech, they have still potential. But the match to look for, hopefully it is streamed, is definitely going to be Virginia Tech taking on Stratosphere eventually in the tournament. But that is going to do it for our coverage here for this block of Champions League play-ins. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is XT. I'm joined here by Returned. And any last words from your end, Returned?
MVP to Hani. Don't swear, kids. It's bad. And have a delightful day, everyone.
Yep. Don't swear, and see y'all next time. And don't go anywhere, actually, as we will come back with our second block of the coverage of the Champions League play-ins. See everyone, and enjoy the rest of the tournament.
Frozen_esports for continued coverage of Champions League playing tournament. But for now, I'm Desperate. So I'm going to co-cast with Pierce. Pierce, any closing statements?